Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Gabe Camarillo.
And I'm Holly Casina. Spring break may be over for Fresno State, but the memories made will last forever. Fresno State Focus reporter Holden Wheeler has more about what the Focus crew did over our break.
Spring break is an opportunity to step back during the semester. Maybe get to that deep spring cleaning you've been putting off, making your life feel more put together, which is what I did. Various chores around the house that I've been putting off and were much needed. One of the main things that I wanted to focus on this spring break was finally cleaning out my closet, taking it from this to this. Now, let's check in and see what the rest of the Fresno State Focus reporters were doing on their spring breaks. Noah Chavez spent some of his time at Community Media Access Collaborative, even getting to spend a little time behind the camera. Gabe Camarillo went to a Los Angeles Dodgers game. Also in Los Angeles was Alexis Molina with her family at Universal Studios.
I'm Alexis Molina, and I'm spending my spring break with my little sister in Hogwarts, who just became a wizard. In Universal Studios, Alexis Molina, Fresno State Focus.
For my spring break, I had my family come to town. I was able to take my grad photos with them, and I took them out to a Grizzlies game. I also had enough time this spring break to play some video games.
Holly Casina also spent time at a baseball game here in Fresno. Let's hear from her.
I'm Holly Casina, and I'm spending my spring break here with my friend Aaron Judge to watch some Grizzlies baseball in the Fresno State Suite at Chansey Park.
Even with all the fun, some Focus members had to step away for family reasons, like Carl Cook.
So today, on the last day in Florida, we celebrated the life of my brother-in-law, Luis Garcia Jr.
From cleaning, going to a baseball game, and even celebrating the life of a family member, this is how we spent our spring break. Fresno State Focus, Holden Wheeler.
Our thoughts go out to our colleague Carl. We hope break was enough of a recharge to give our crew and all Fresno State students the strength to power through the rest of the semester.
Graduation is officially a month away for Fresno State students. Commencement ceremonies are set to start May 20th. This will be the first year since the pandemic that ceremonies will be held at the Save Mart Center. Students say it's an exciting time, but it can also be a stressful time.
Thinking about what's next. Yeah, I'm done with school, but now I would have to look for a job, and it just sounds so stressful. Just even though you have your bachelor's degree these days, I feel like it's still not enough.
Buy your cap and gown at the Kennel Bookstore up until graduation.
For those returning to school in the fall, now is the time to register for classes. Some students started enrolling in classes, while others are still waiting for the opportunity. Every student has a different enrollment date depending on the amount of units they have. Fresno State student Richie Hernandez says it is a bittersweet moment getting into the classes he needs.
That means that I'm one step closer to graduating. But the only thing I don't like about registering for classes is that my major is kinesiology. So that means that the classes get filled up real quickly.
Registration started on Monday and will continue until the end of the week. You can check your registration date on the Fresno State portal.
Registering for classes is one thing, but taking those courses can be an even bigger challenge. Luckily for Fresno State students, there are places on campus for help. The Learning Center is one of them, where tutors are available from 7:45 in the morning all the way up to midnight in the Henry Madden Library Monday through Friday. There is help for all majors. There is also supplemental instruction and support net, where students get time management and study skills. This is all the more important with finals just weeks away.
Just up a flight of stairs from the Learning Center is another student resource, Discover E. That's where students can borrow laptops and iPads, even hotspots. Students have the choice to join the Discover E program at the start of the semester or join the Loaner program. People at the Discover E desk in the Henry Madden Library can answer any questions you have.
MCJ students are getting real-world experience in their capstone class before graduation. Dejanique Martin shows us what it's like to be a broadcast journalism student in this capstone class, otherwise known as Fresno State Focus.
I'm really excited for your story.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
The day in the life of a broadcast journalism capstone student consists of reporting, writing, photographing, editing, producing, and anchoring a student-run newscast.
It's so rewarding at the end of the day. It's something that you can only understand if you truly experience it, which this class is just giving us a little bit of taste of what every day is going to be like.
Professors are really good at giving us that feedback and advice on what we're missing and what we need.
Students are expected to meet deadlines just as if they were in an actual newsroom. Every week they're turning in stories and pitching stories for the next newscast to come. They do 9 30-minute live newscasts in a semester.
And I definitely feel like this class is realistic to the industry, which helps us in being able to put everything that we've learned during our COVID over Zoom classes and dedicating what we learned then to this class, definitely.
The hands-on experience that MCJ students are receiving here in their capstone class is preparing them for the reality after college. In the Merlin Burley studio, Dejanique Martin, Fresno State Focus.
MCJ also offers additional capstone classes for other MCJ options, including advertising/PR, digital journalism, and film and media arts.
When we return, see a behind-the-scenes look at the elephants at the Fresno Chaffee Zoo.
And we'll take a look at the concerning drug addiction here in Fresno.
Rain returning to the Central Valley? I'll tell you all about that when we return.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
At Fresno State, being bold means committing to something greater than yourself. It's learning by doing and nurturing leaders to advance our shared future. It's using research to create a better life for those around us and healing those who need us most. These are our stories, because at Fresno State, bold begins here.
Throughout the month of April, you may have noticed a wide variety of weather. From record-breaking dry heat here on the valley floor to cold and windy days. The month of April is known for having these irregular weather patterns.
I like to refer to April in Central California as kind of the roller coaster month, because keep in mind that as we get, into April and May and June, the sun is higher up in the sky, which means we receive increasing amounts of solar energy. Plus we have longer period of daylight. Every day we have about 2 or 3
to winter storms, and with that increased solar energy, the temperature changes are seen as far more dramatic. That's the perfect time to cue our weather report with Rhett, who has, here's a hint, more changes in our forecast.
Thank you, Holly. Rhett Rodriguez here with your Fresno State Focus on Weather. And so with the beauty shot behind me, this is of the Peters Building, and we have bright blue skies. And as we take a look at our national satellite tracker, you're going to have relatively clear on the East Coast. But then once you get toward the Midwest and the upper part of the country, we're going to have a lot of rain, all that blues, greens, and yellows. The blue is actually snow. And let's take a closer look at California. So with California right now, we do have a system just up north, and that yellow is more intense rain. But what's really important is here off the end of the coast, that is eventually what's going to give us rain tomorrow. So let's take a look at today's highs. So Stockton's going to have a high of 72, Merced 74, and Hanford 77. And as we look at our overnight lows, it's going to be relatively in the 50s. So we're going to have 55 in Stockton, Merced 52, and Mendota 50. And we take a look at our air quality, and this is also because of those systems coming in, and so we have great green air quality, so really get a chance to go outside. And now we take a look at your extended outlook. So for today, we're going to have sunny and 77 degrees. Tomorrow, we're going to have rain. So if you're like me, I just washed my car yesterday, so you know what? You're kind of stuck with a dirty car. But Friday, we're going to have 67 with partly cloudy skies. We're going to have sunny on Saturday and Sunday, perfect for the rodeo. And lastly, on Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be in the mid-80s. And so now, it may be sunny now, but there is a long dark cloud over the San Joaquin Valley. The opioid epidemic has a hold on the nation and the Central Valley. Your best friend, your coworker, your teammate could be someone who's struggling with addiction. Eric Ozetta is an opioid survivor who has been sober for 6 years.
They internalize a lot of stuff and they isolate themselves. And when you isolate yourself, it's it's not a recipe for success.
Now getting high can be a game of Russian roulette. In 2021, emergency services responded to 84 fentanyl overdoses in Fresno. 34 of them ended in death. A place people can receive help is the nonprofit PAIN. PAIN stands for Parents and Addicts in Need. The nonprofit offers supports for addicts and their families as well. Flint Anderson started PAIN, and he says being an addict is more dangerous than ever.
Especially with the fentanyl crisis, they don't know what they're getting. There's no way to determine what is in either that pill or if they're using cocaine and a drug dealer has laced it with fentanyl, or they're getting just straight fentanyl and they think they're getting cocaine.
PAIN has helped over 3,000 addicts since 2009. Anderson says 93% of PAIN's clientele went to a Clovis Unified school.
Starting first baseman, they have to be first chair trumpet in the band. They have to be, straight A students. And most of these kids are just that, they're kids.
Frankie DePrima was not an addict. He was a fun-loving jokester who loved his mom, his girlfriend, and his car. He was a 20-year-old who sometimes experimented with drugs. Frankie died from a fentanyl overdose 2 years ago.
Up like all night long playing Xbox, and then they would sleep all day, him and his friends. And so it was nothing unusual for him not to come out of his room.
But the day went by, and Elaine started to get worried when she hadn't seen or heard from him by 6 p.m.
I went to his door, and it was locked, and I went and got the key, and I opened it up, and I could tell that he'd been gone for a long time.
Frankie had 6 times the lethal amount of fentanyl in his system.
When they see me, I want them to think about if their parents were having to go through this, because no parent should have to find their child dead in their room.
I spoke with Clovis Unified's Chief Communication Officer, Kelly A. Vance. She told me Clovis Unified has done many things to students and parents to make them more aware of the dangers of fentanyl. She said that there's a lot of power in awareness and an engaged parent.
After 2 years of enforcement, airlines and public transportation are now reducing the mask mandate. In a federal judge's ruling, mask wearing was deemed unlawful for public transportation. Since the ruling, a total of 7 major airlines in the U.S. have relaxed their policy on mask wearing on airplanes, including American and United Airlines. Although many are relieved with the ruling, many are still remaining cautious.
Excited to see a new normal unfold, but also it's still a little bit unnerving coming out of 2 years of having them. It's kind of like a safety blanket.
With many proud of the ruling, there are many more critics against it. The CDC has countered the ruling by still recommending that masks are worn in high occupancy areas such as planes, trains, and buses. While there are still COVID infections, returning back to normal is occurring quicker than later.
As COVID cases continue to drop, cases of the flu are beginning to rise across the United States. After an almost non-existent flu season last year, cases are beginning to rise at a fast pace. Professionals believe that the rise is likely due to COVID mask mandates being lifted and social distancing guidelines being removed.
COVID virus is a respiratory virus also. So the measures that have been useful and helpful decreasing transmission of that virus have also played some impact on the influenza virus.
You can help slow the spread of the flu virus by getting an annual flu shot. It is also helpful to continue to wear a mask if you have symptoms and frequently wash your hands. Scientists at the University of California, San Francisco are researching the relationship between mental health and COVID. The study finds that certain psychiatric conditions like anxiety or depression are linked to an increased risk of getting COVID. This revelation is causing some with anxiety to feel even more defenseless against COVID.
I mean, it was just overall, I felt just defeated. I don't know. It was just kind of a, that sounds about right, but let's check another thing off on mental illness has made more difficult.
Though the increased risk of breakthrough COVID are a tough pill to swallow, a glass half full perspective helps to wash it down.
Even though the mask mandate has been lifted in most places, maybe I'll be better about wearing it. It's kind of hit or miss for me.
While masks are now optional, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention still recommend masks for the immunocompromised.
Actor Will Smith is banned from the Oscars for 10 years after slapping comedian Chris Rock for making a G.I. Jane joke towards his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. The incident, which Rock called the greatest night in TV history, sparked a debate as to whether Smith's actions were justified. We asked Fresno State students what they think is the appropriate way to defend a loved one. Here's one opinion.
If he really wanted to stand up for her, he could have just maybe talked to him after the whole, after the show, or maybe if he wanted to scream, keep my wife's name out your mouth, he could have just did that instead of the slap. I mean, anything would have been better than the slap.
Chris Rock did not press charges against Will Smith.
Come out to downtown Fresno this Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. for Pints for Pities at Tioga Sequoia Brewery. The fundraising event is hosted by the Fresno Bully Rescue. It's an event that's fun for the whole family. If the combination of drinks and helping dogs in need aren't enough for you, you can also adopt a dog and help save a life.
Really cool to connect with the community and all the local breweries to hang out together and all come together for a common purpose.
Fresno Bully Rescue will be there with adoptable dogs and plenty of Bully merchandise to benefit the shelter. One of the biggest draws is the Bully Rescue collectible pint glasses. There will also be a Pity Pale Ale made special by Tioga, and all purchases of that will benefit the shelter as well.
In light of recent allegations of improper treatment of elephants at the Fresno Chaffee Zoo, park officials had local news stations visit for a media tour. Local news media was given behind-the-scenes access to the Elephant Care Center, where daily medical tests and inspections take place for the animal's health.
Think about the history of how elephants were kept at Fresno Chaffee in the past, and then look at this today. Look at the care facility that we saw, the way that's designed, and contrast those two things.
The Fresno Chaffee Zoo is credited as a conservation nonprofit organization that provides the best elephant care possible compared to other zoos named in the report.
The Fresno State Collegian recently celebrated Collegian Day. In the city of Fresno, April 9th is known as Collegian Day. The proclamation is to congratulate the Collegian for sharing news with the entire nation. But the 100-year-old campus paper has had to make some budget cuts to stay solvent.
We will end this year with about $65,000 to $70,000. It depends on how we budget going forward, how we staff it. There's a lot of variables going into it.
Students pay the Collegian $5.50 per semester. Those funds are used to pay for staff wages as well as printing costs.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, we'll give you an update on the NBA playoffs.
Plus, we'll fill you in on some details about the community favorite event established in 1914, the Clovis Rodeo.
We are one Fresno State, a university that celebrates the bold excellence of our students. Our Bulldogs become your child's teacher, your family's healthcare provider, your leader, your problem solver, your hero. A degree from Fresno State opens minds and opens doors. This is where bold begins.
Here in the valley, our colors are blue and our waves are red. Bulldog born and bulldog bred. Generations linked forever by traditions that have stood the test of time. Inside our stadiums, we are one. This is our valley, and this year, we're doing it for you.
Welcome back. I'm Noah Chavez with your focus on sports. Fresno State baseball defended the homeland against Hawaii. After an explosive first 3 innings, the Dogs added 3 runs in the bottom of the 4th. Zach Morgan and Ivan Luna hit back-to-back doubles to score 2 runs, while Tommy Hopfe scored a run off a single. Hawaii fought back in the top of the 5th inning. It would not be enough as the Dogs scored 2 more runs, securing the win with a final score of 10-7. The NBA playoffs opening weekend had its highest rating since 2011. Tonight, the Boston Celtics take on the Brooklyn Nets. The Celtics have a 1-0 lead over the Nets after Jason Tatum's buzzer-beating layup. Game 2 is tipping off right now in Boston. The Philadelphia 76ers lead the Toronto Raptors 2-0 on the back of MVP candidate Joel Embiid. Game 3 kicks off tonight at 5. And the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks and the Greek Freak look to go up 2-0 on the Chicago Bulls tonight at 6:30. Spring football is here in the United States Football League. The USFL kicking off its season last weekend with some exciting games. This is the second go-around for the league. The last time we saw the USFL was back in the 80s. Reporter Adrian Robbins has more.
Spring football is not unusual anymore. We have had the XFL and the AAF. But where they failed, the USFL looks to succeed with big-time coaches like Jeff Fisher, who led the Tennessee Titans to a Super Bowl.
Just want people to kind of fall in love with us and know that we're going to play hard, but we're going to do a lot more than, what we do between the lines.
Having a head coach like Jeff Fisher, who has been around the NFL, means a lot to his players and coaches.
For the first meeting, just watching the way he spoke and interacted with guys, it was different than what I'm used to seeing at the college level, and much more kind of, hey, I'm going to treat you as a grown man until you and a professional until you prove me otherwise.
There are some unique rule changes that are different from the NFL. You can go for 1, 2, or 3-point plays after a touchdown. Instead of an onside kick, you now have a chance at a 4th and 12 from your own 33-yard line.
Yeah, I think you just make sure, as an offense coordinator, I'd make sure I got my calls for those scenarios. We've hit them in walkthroughs. We got a rep or 2 in practice. But, you just want to make sure you have something that you've practiced that gives you guys an opportunity for some of those unique situations. And, other than that, it's just be ready if they come up.
Fans are interested in the USFL to see what it brings, but they are wary of a number of things that plague the other leagues, such as sloppy quarterback play.
I think it's really going to depend. I'm not expecting a complete product week 1, The
USFL has had an exciting opening weekend, and they look to continue that throughout the entire year. This is Adrian Robbins with the Fresno State Focus.
It's that time of year again in Clovis. Sydney Morgan takes us down to the rodeo.
Boot, scoot, and boogie down to the Clovis Rodeo grounds as we celebrate 108 years. Now, this event did start as a 2-day event, but now lasts 5 days with events like concerts, like tonight's Mitchell Tenpenny, who sings Alcohol You Later and Bucket List, as well as a couple more artists. And then they also have a blood drive, one of the biggest in California, and a giant parade. Now, this event does raise money for the community, making it a non-profit. All the profits made are going to be given back to the community through things like 4-H, the police department, and things like that. The good thing about that is that makes this a community event, and the culture behind it is huge. The good thing about this year is that they're not requiring any health or proof of negative COVID results, so no one has to worry about that, which is exciting.
Tickets do cost $35 Wednesday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday go down to $20. Now those tickets are $35 due to the concerts. And then Sunday will be championship day. The weekend days are from 2 p.m. until later, and then Wednesday through Friday, 6 p.m. until later. You can buy tickets online or at the ticket booth right behind me. We hope to see you down here to celebrate and come together as a community.
Starting at 6 tonight, you can slide on some boots, maybe even a cowboy hat, and check out the bull riding and country music concerts. We'll see you there at the Clovis Rodeo, who is actually going to be the queen of the Clovis Rodeo. Sorry about that. By the way, the current queen is Carissa King, a Fresno State Focus and equestrian team alumni. And that's your focus on sports.
Thank you, Noah. Nice hat. Fresno City College is roaring into Asian Fest in honor of the Year of the Tiger. The event on April 30th will have food, global vendors, bonsai cutting, performances, a martial arts show, and much more.
If you've ever wanted to travel to Asia, you haven't got your passport, you want to experience culture, you're on the fence, you don't know, you enjoy entertainment, and you like free stuff, come out to Asian Fest.
Asian Fest takes place Saturday, April 30th. Admission and parking are free.
A local Fresno chef is bringing New York-style sandwiches to the Central Valley. Chef Eddie Wu Tangzi is the owner and creator of My Guy Market, a sandwich business that launched in downtown Fresno in February. His menu features 2 sandwiches, a New York chopped cheese and a bacon, egg, and cheese. Wu Tangzi created the business after taking a trip to New York and becoming inspired by the environment and the food. What's green, sticky, and usually bought in bulk to consume on April 20th? Do you have your hunches? It comes in bunches. It's BANANAS. Today is official National Banana Day. You might have forgotten the date, let alone the brown bananas in your produce drawer. But don't toss them just yet. Though they lack the fibrous force of fresh fruit, ripe bananas are great for baking bread. Combine the fruit, flour, baking powder, and eggs along with some vanilla extract and chopped nuts. Once combined, it's time to get baked. For the bread, anyway. However you decide to celebrate today, please do so responsibly. And remember, good bread is meant to be shared.
On the topic of our Earth, this Friday, April 22nd, is Earth Day, when we demonstrate our support for protecting the Earth and its natural resources. This movement was created in 1970 by Wisconsin Senator Gaylord Nelson. However, it wasn't until the 1990s when it began to go global. Today, more than 1 billion people around the world celebrate Earth Day in hopes of creating change in human behavior and to create policies to help save our Earth.
It's important. It's one more chance to get out in front of the public, and people are thinking about the environment today, so we should use this time to talk to people about the Earth.
The Sierra Club is at Fresno State today to inform the public of the dangers of petroleum and its effects on climate change. They also want to sign up students for an upcoming Sierra Club event in Bakersfield. Other environmental organizations are on campus with giveaways and pamphlets informing people of the Earth's biggest dangers. So, Holly, I have to ask you, you planning on going on a hike or a walk on Earth Day on Friday?
Well, Rhett showed us we have some great weather coming up this weekend, so I think I'm going to enjoy some nature vibes and see how that goes. You got any plans?
I might go on a hike. Wonder Valley and Sanger is so beautiful, and it looks like, according to Rhett, on Friday it's supposed to be a beautiful day out there after some rain.
Absolutely.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, we show you how parents and students are saying thank you to their teachers as we prepare for National Teacher Appreciation Day.
Plus, on Babe Ruth Day, we honor a legend who is arguably the greatest baseball player of all time.
Also, we meet the crew behind the scenes that run our Fresno State Focus newscast.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.